Fourth match, super close. A lot of unfortunate NACS style rounds that happened there. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't know, man. That round when Kusta won Dig 2, Ethan got that kill at upper, and then they were able to clutch that round versus Stabson, I think it was.
Yep.
I mean, dude, if you're NRG, that could be the round that makes it so you don't get playoffs. That could be it. Like COG from that map could be the map that takes NRG out of playoffs. I mean, you got to take that more seriously, man. Like, you got to be spotting. You got to not make that mistake. There was actually a lot of mistakes by NRG. That round, I know Lex was talking about it when they just walked up Cat in a 4v5, I believe it was, when NRG had the advantage and nobody spotted and they got right into the site. Just some boneheaded plays by NRG, honestly. And COG played some. I don't want to take credit away from COG. COG played some really good CS. But there was some things that I wanted to point out when we're going to see on the replays about things that both teams can improve on, and also I wanted to talk about ways you could retake A and things like that to help the viewer at home understand a bit better.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to take a look. This is a little bit earlier in the match. This is the sixth round. And we talked about this. Tabson does the same thing basically every round, and it seemed to get, there was several times that he caught Kusta off that way. He's going to jump up and he's going to take down Cutler just like that. It's a 5v3 advantage, and and then Gabi's going to lurk around from ladder room, gets another kill. Very, very clean, easy round. And this was, I think, maybe one of the few, or the last rounds, gun rounds, that NRG was able to win. COG had some really good retakes at that A-bomb site.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about those retakes, but right there we see Tabson coming through Connector, and Hayes was actually struggling a lot in Connector. He needs to go back and watch this, because when he was playing Connector, I know COG won the match, but it's something that he could definitely learn from. And he was kind of playing the halvesies CS, okay? In Counter-Strike, very rarely is it good to be going halfway in and out. He'd go Connector and he'd peek somebody, take like 3 shots and run away. That connector from the bottom of the stairs to getting back to safety around your own stairs or towards jungle is a lot longer than you think. Somebody can come up underpass, they can kill you. Somebody can go push towards catwalk and kill you really, really easily. When he's in connector like that, either commit or don't commit. That halvesies type of way where you're peeking, the smoke's dissipating, you shoot 2 bullets and you run away, you're going to get caught more often than not. Commit to the kill or don't commit at all.
Yeah, and it's actually one of the harder. I think Crims was an amazing player at that position.
Definitely a very difficult position.
Who one of your teammates played that? Was that a spot Brax played, or?
We actually vetoed Mirage at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, just don't play the map.
We were just like, the Europeans were so far ahead, and yeah.
Makes sense. We got another replay here from a little bit later on in the match. I think this is that round that we were talking about. So it starts with Kusta with a 1 It's literally it would start as a 5v2. And there's 2 players up, pistols and no armor, and it just goes south.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable when you're NRG and you're playing for a playoff spot there. And they're able to come up catwalk. Kusta, it's 2 incredible shots though. 3 incredible shots actually. After he gets the M4, he gets that kill as well. And now Tabson's in a really bad position. These are the rounds where when I'm Tabson, I'm literally like seething with rage right now. Like, why are you putting me in this spot? I'm trying to play smart CS,
right.
And I get put in a 1v2 on like such an important round. Oh my god.
Yeah,
but NRG actually got him back when Legia was under Balk in the 3v3 and gets those awesome 2 headshots. Played that perfectly. So there was both teams had rounds they should have won and should have lost that the other team came
NACS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what is the Bearsman saying?
You never know.
Yeah.
In CS:GO, wise man once said. Yeah, we saw Ethan really struggle, but he did close out. That was a huge 1v1. At one point in the match, he was like 4-20 or something like that. And then we were talking about how when that happens, you tell your team, like, if he's the last guy left, like, don't give him a kill. Can you explain why that is?
Oh, I used to make a game out of it, right? Like, if somebody's having a poor game, because a lot of the time what happens is if somebody's having a poor game and you're beating another team and that guy's alive and he's like 2-15 or something like that, right? A lot of the time he's sweating it, man. He's playing that round super, like, he wants those kills. And I would just be like, he's 2-15, don't give him a kill. Don't give him a kill. Play crossfires. Like, give him the most respect. Like, play like he is Forrest and he's 30-3 right now, And then that way, it's good because obviously it teaches your team discipline. But it's really good because that player, I'm telling you, is not going to want to play your team next time around.
And we see there he finished 11-24. Yeah. I would actually say some of those 11 kills were critically important to CLG being able to take that.
Oh, yeah.
The kills he had on that round alone were probably worth the rest of his kills. And I wanted to ask that question specifically because there's some psychological warfare stories that DeBears just shared with us that I can't wait to share with the viewing audience.
You know, like,
it's in your head right now.
Yeah, like 10 years later, when you guys hear this story, like, I'm psychologically, like, I still can't believe that is a story that is real.
DeBears, he's pure gold. I mean, just pure gold all the way around. And then going into this next map, talking about psychological warfare, your energy, you have a 5v2, it's close to the end of the map, you're feeling like, all right, we're probably going to win this. Let off the gas a little bit, terrible rounds, few mistakes. You lose a close one against a team that I feel like there's a little bit of a rivalry starting to build there. What do you need to do now in this 10-minute break or so between map 1 and map 2?
All right, well, right now they're pissed. Like 100%. I believe they live in a team house as well.
They do.
So they're probably outside right now. You know, Pete's smoking a cig. They're talking about it.
Don't smoke, Pete.
They're talking about it, but they got to just refocus and move past this. You know, right now they're like, you know what? We had that match. We should have won that match, and I guarantee you they're pissed right now. You know, going into this next match, they just got to forget about it. They got to be like, you know what? We're a better team than them. I do think Energy is a better team than them, even though CLG beat them on LAN. I think, like, against the competition and overall, I think Energy is a better team. And they got to be like, you know what? We just got to get refocused. Like, our playoff lines are on the line. We got to just move past this. Something that I'm terrible at, by the way.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, I'm terrible at it. So
if it was you and you guys just lost a close match like that, how, like 1 through 10, how triggered, and then how much of an ass chewing do you give your teammates?
Well,
especially in a round like you said, if you're Tabson in that 2v5 round, like you're livid. How much does your teammates hear it in the freeze time of that next round?
I mean, if this was me right now, like I'm terrible at moving past stuff, so I'd probably like every like tone in my voice and everything I say is just like you could tell how pissed I am because I'm so bad at like hiding those emotions. I'm sure you guys know.
I don't think anyone's ever seen that.
but even then, I'm just like. I'll take like 5 minutes, like literally to myself, and then I'll come back and just be like, all right, you know what, we let that slip to our fingertips. You know, let's move past it and let's move towards the next map. And I'll just start talking about what we need to do to win the next map. You know,
yeah, it'll be interesting to see if
talk
Energy
about our pistols, things like that.
If Energy can interesting talk about the way Immortals played their T side against CLG yesterday. Talk us through how different that was versus the way Energy played their T side today.
Yeah, so Energy. You know, they played a much more slower pace style. We saw them take control of those A-halls constantly. You know, they didn't just brute force anything like Immortals did, you know, that we saw yesterday. And they, you know, a lot of it almost seems like it came down to respect almost, you know. But that's just Energy's play style compared to Immortals. Immortals sometimes will just, you know, just run you over like we saw.
Yeah, there's definitely... I mean, yesterday we joked that the freeze times were faster than some of the rounds. Definitely not the case in that first half there. As we take a look at another highlight.
I was happy to see that because we got to see some of CLG stuff. You know, I saw some cool setups at the A-halls with Hazed and Cutler, even though Hazed didn't have a particularly good performance this game. But yeah, in this replay, this was the Tech 9 round running up middle, 14-5.
And we talked a little bit about a similar round to this. It wasn't exactly this round, but the importance when you have a player like Peter was kind of trapped there in the site. And we talked about the concept of playing the percentages. Talk us through the importance of, before the bomb gets planted at A, there was a round where, I think was it Ethan? Maybe was at the Cannons.
So that round, when he was at Cannons, he was blind. He was in a really bad spot. He actually ended up getting a kill. But the thing I want to talk about with that round is the CTs there. I think it was Subrosa and maybe Nathan, or Ethan, sorry, not sure. I think both of them were alive. And they wanted to wait the smokes out. But the thing about the A side on Cobble is, if you have a chance to go through the smoke while you have a teammate alive, even though you're going in blind and it seems like, you know, it seems like a bad idea almost, right? Like you're going in blind, you know, you have to go make a right towards middle or a left or whatever, but it's actually the best chances that you have to win the round. If you give up that post plant and let it be a 3v2, even a 2v2, it's so difficult to come through that connector when you could just jiggle peek AP, not necessarily jiggle peek, but jiggle or, you know, peek every 4 or 5 seconds on Heaven and APC, you know, towards connector and Heaven. Your best odds of winning the round, even though you're going in blind and it seems like a bad idea, is actually going through the smoke. Because remember, Ethan's at the Cannons. They have to put resources to try to kill him. A lot of the time you could shoot some people in the back there and, you know, make a hectic situation work for you.
Yeah, and so we were talking the percentage of winning a post plant versus taking the risk of going through the smoke. It's more favorable to take that risk.
Yes.
We've got one more replay of the last round of that second map. Great job of Fugly getting this kill, holding Hull's control.
He's such a difficult kill while he comes through that smoke in that one-by-one doorway.
That's the not the risk reward of going through a smoke. We talked about when it makes sense on a map like this.
I almost guarantee they probably thought Pete was the only one there because a lot of time he solos those A-halls, and that was probably like a read they made.
Yeah, and they were able to just kind of close this out. This round wasn't really ever in doubt. I think there was a couple kills that happened, but it was pretty convincing.
Yeah, those long A-halls are really good for like they really cater to Peter's strength as an opper, because Peter as that like just shotgun opper playing close like that, he's really good at it. You know, like even if there's a smoke up, he's just shotgun opping like super close. That's like one of his strengths as an opper, and also taking risks and good risks. You know, he's not afraid to play risky, and a lot of the time he gets away with it really well. And if he's at those A-halls and he's, you know, playing close, he could play for information, he could re-aggress after they take control. It really does cater to his strengths a lot as an opera, and I think that's one of the reasons that energy is pretty damn good on Cobble.
Yeah, and it seemed like Peter started to really come to life there. A lot of heart and souls on display towards like the second half of the first half and then onward. And then we did talk about Gabi. We got the stats for Gabi. Big performance. He's not always like their heavy fragger, so when he does have that kind of a performance, it's usually rare, but an indicator that like they'll probably win if Gabi's putting up 23 kills in a match.
Yeah, like I bet the stats would be like if Gabi puts up, you know, 1.0 FBR, they're probably like undefeated or something, you know.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Yeah, it's not too often that we see it, but and some of the shots that pistol round shot.
Yeah, he was on point, man.
Super, super impressive. They're also, we talked about the innovation that they bring to the table. If there's a team to watch demos of to learn new smokes, new mollies, new use of utility, it's probably that team in this region.
Oh, absolutely. And dude, some of the smokes and flashes that they come up with are just really next level. Like Gabi has a smoke on Cash where he throws it from T-spawn and it pops on top of highway. So you could just like fake middle, keep a guy highway for 1 second, run outdoor. You know, 3-man like A-site outdoor, stuff like that. A lot of really cool pop flashes. It's one of the reasons I like playing with Legia and Rank S. He always has something crazy up his sleeve that I could see.
Yeah, we saw them use, they did like a double molly to get control drop. They got Tapson down. Then they did this like grenade bounce through the window with Tapson jumping through the debris.
That was so awkward to watch when Kusta went between them.
Yeah, Kusta went in between the jump, through the smoke, and actually got a kill out of it. But you could see, like, that's not it's a lot of teams, they go with things that other teams have done already. Energy seems to find new things, and they implement
them. Yeah, very innovative.
Very much so.
You know, even on Mirage, I've actually never seen somebody throw a Molotov like that to hit the window. You know, there's that like pink, you know, window up there on the top left, and they bank it off the top left to hit the window. And I thought that was pretty damn, you know, innovative. I've never even seen that before.
Yeah, like I said, if there's a team that, if you are the coach or you're maybe a premier team and there's some things that you'd want to implement, they're definitely a good team to shamelessly rip off.
Ricks, we'll just have a nice little 4K there.
Yeah, both teams right here are fighting for playoffs, right? So this map is like huge right now. So you want to do everything you can to win this. Renegade's going to have a bye here. I think they probably called the pause. And we'll see. I mean, you know, there's two different types of strat callers, like when it comes to this situation, right? There's the strat caller that says, okay, I think they're going to adapt. Now we're going to switch it up. And then, like, you know, Existence, who obviously one of the best strat callers of all time. If you ever play against his team, if something of his is working, they will literally do it like every single round until you stop it. Like 14 rounds in a row, they'll just keep hammering it home, right? Yeah. But we'll see. I'm curious what Sean's gonna opt for here. If he's gonna keep doing like a 4-1, you know, towards A. They've been liking that a lot. They've done a lot of, you know, checkers molly being main smoke, going through that, something like that. Or if they're gonna go back to a default. I don't know. The options are definitely open, but, you know, the ball's in his court now.
Absolutely. And the Renegades, of course, really trying to look to make up after they go up on a huge streak within that first half. They're 11-4 and just haven't really been able to capitalize on it at all. Only 2 rounds so far in this half, and they've been separated. They haven't been consistent. They managed to pick them up towards the middle of this half, and again, the past 3 rounds just went right back into the control of Echo Fox. Maybe expecting a pause a little bit earlier than this since things started to fall apart, maybe when they still had the lead, but now things maybe have just finally settled in for the Renegades. Like, oh, now we're really far behind at this one.
Yeah, they are.
Our economy's been wrecked, and this might be like the real last buy round that we're able to put up to against these guys.
Yeah, and for all the Stilos heroics on T side, it might go to waste here. So for Echo Fox, they have full mollies. I like how they buy, by the way. I like having the nades on cash actually on T side, but on CT side, unless if the team's not doing a fast mid, if they're doing fast mid, it's so good to have HE grenades. You could literally nade boost and nade 4 and just wreck them and put them all to like 30 health. But on the T side, it's actually really good to have nades on cash because there's so many spots that are just nadeable, right? Like forklift at A is nadeable, quad's nadeable, default's nadeable, everything at A is nadeable. Everything's at B, and B is nadeable as well. If you catch somebody towards triple, you can nade them. So it's kind of funny watching if you opt for 2 flashbangs or a flashbang and a nade. It's so map dependent actually.
Yeah.
That I like looking at that.
And so the Renegades, of course, now as they do reinvest into it, like you said, taking it a bit lighter here. They're not going to have that extra bonus, but maybe not needing it.
And I'm not sure if they're going to have an off either, unless JKS opts to
glass cannon by.
Yeah, maybe drop to Ricky, maybe not, probably not.
Nope, he's not going to go for that. Just going to be picking up the normal rifle with armor behind it, and we do get unpause, guys. So we'll jump back into the game now and take a look at things.
And here we go with the mind game, right? Because Renegades is thinking they're going to do the same thing probably. So that's why Sean's like, I don't know if we should do the same thing or if we should do something different.
So it looks like from the initial beginning of this one too, the Renegades actually not going to put really any pressure in mid at all. They can counter boost up into the vents, of course, and that's where that pressure will come from. But oh, the run boost over towards Shroud Spot does not work out. They end up messing it up a bit there, so he's just going to be stuck on the ground, and they'll have to try that again if they want for it, but more than likely probably not going to risk it.
Yeah, one of the things I really like to do though is if you just use that sound cue, it actually can go completely against the other team. Because anytime I hear that like boost sound, I'm like boost, 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 boost. But they could definitely just as easily fake it. So crisscross smokes. Looks like they're gonna go do a Molly B take. At least that's what they're set up for.
Mess up there on the flash. Teammate's head getting in the way a bit. So nothing too big out of their way. Just a bit of a wasted one. And the Molotov 2 is going to push him out, but they actually didn't realize it. So JKS is able to get a 1-for-1 in that situation. Freakazoid looking away at the wrong moment and missing it. And oh my goodness, Shazam tries to jump up and get the shot, but Ricky's going to punish that one too. Now more moving back out here, but Rick's again finding the impact. It goes down to a 3-on-2. There's fast enough rotates from the Renegades, but now they actually have to try and get their way back into this site. Specifically, Yam here is going to have a rough time since, there you go, Roka sneaking back in. Finishes Yam off, and while he still is going to drop back down from heaven, he's immediately going to get shut down from Ricks. Echo Fox now get up to match point here. And the Renegades, unfortunately, will not have the best buy in the world for what could be our final round.
Dude, what a T side, though, by Echo Fox. Like, they're playing really, really well. I mean, anytime you have that type of economical advantage as well, doing molly takes and things like that are so difficult to stop with CT. Because if you don't have the resources to stop that, it's almost impossible to hold like an A molly take or a B molly take and coming through quick because you just don't have the smokes to put it out. You don't have the flashes to delay them. Now we're looking at this last round here, and Sean's already out towards highway box.
Moving himself around here too. There is going to be a player waiting for this one too. It's Yam, and Sean, a bit of hesitance on his part. He doesn't decide to push directly into this just yet. Decides to actually fall back over to the Cubby in mid here too. And while Roka finds 1 kill for himself, Azur is going to take him down immediately after that here to deny his pressure from working out towards Squeaky. This pulls the rest of Echo Fox back. The problem is now they've got that extra pressure coming in from Ustillo too. He's going to spot that they're still out in the open here. And after he does that, he'll be happy with it. Just retreats over to the bomb site. Still waiting to see that effectiveness coming in from Sean as he's sitting behind the white box now, but there is no presence here at the moment on highway. And also the Renegades kind of dangerously pushing back into A main. You still are really wanting that more intel to try and confirm that it is going to be working its way towards another site as pretty much the entire rest of Echo Fox have decided to push out towards mid here. And they're going to have a free path up to the A bomb site too. Shazam's going to peek and he'll see nothing there. They've all tried to wrap around to line up these more sophisticated flanks out towards B, but there's no play coming into B. It's all in mid right now. And they're running down that timer. There's Ustillo, though, striking on the flank. They've spotted them in mid. And not only this, but Azur's going to peek back out there, too. He finds a second one. Almost is chased down. He's left with 8 HP, but all of a sudden, let's put this map in a huge advantage here for the Renegades. And now it's just going to leave Sean Garris as the last one standing. He's even going to be flanked out, too, by Ustillo. The Renegades within 1 round of taking this to OT.
Yep, and that door push, I'm telling you, man, if that door guy goes down, it is so difficult. it opened up pushing towards A main. As soon as Ustello came out of door, he saw somebody running away from A main, so he knew that was probably open. You know, that's easy to push, and just so much info. I don't know, once that door guy goes down, if they take control of that, it's really tough.
It will be over at that point, but now they managed to save it. However, Echo Fox are going to line up a much faster play this time, and again, they're going to make that noise, but they aren't able to get Ustello up on top there. As you were saying before, could very well be a fake as far as we know here. But for now, he's just going to be placing himself further back onto the site, and we'll wait for Echo Fox really to make their striking moment to try and get into this bomb site itself. Roka has the bomb sitting just in Squeaky, and Shazam is watching for the push to work its way in from the B halls, but he won't be catching any of that. This is going back to some of the very early half stuff very early on in the half, sort of what we were seeing from Echo Fox before, and this almost always led into those A main executes. Now they're going to start moving out for mid control here as Rix gets boosted over. Shazam is watching for extra pressure to move its way towards White Box, that he's free to push up towards it, but as he drops down, he's got to find the frags immediately. He's going to get one, but he's pushed over on the left side. Shazam can't do anything about that. Ricky is going to get a great angle to find the trade onto Rix. Now as they move back in, Roka finding his entry from outside Squeaky. Ustello's on the site, though, ready to defend. Roka trades, and Shazam finds Ricky. He got himself into that position before, but he also trapped himself in it by pushing it. Now it's just JKS. He takes the risk, moves out, loses about a third of his HP in the process, getting up onto this position here, but when it comes time to frag, he doesn't do it. So Echo Fox are going to take this second map 16-14. And with that, these two teams will trade tonight, going 1-1.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter right there. We saw them do it the 4th round, and I commented how good that strat is, and they just did it again there, where they just throw nades A, they get Shazam. You know, the cues for them to probably do that is when it's a 2-1-2 probably, but also when as soon as there's no mid-main smoke. You know, when the mid-main smoke dissipates, Shazam's able to go out there. He's able to op and cover Ronnie. He's able to go for highway freely, and it worked both times, like, beautifully. Like, that strat is really, really good and well thought out, for sure.
Interesting piece of stats, by the way, for the Renegades now is although they do drop this map, of course, even though they started the season off 1-5, they've managed to go, I believe it's now at this point, I think it would be 9-2, since they would have been 10-1 if they managed to take that one. But still, an impressive turnaround nonetheless, and it's kept them very comfortably in the top 6 to be able to take this. But that is going to close things out for myself and Dazed for the evening, and we are going to send things back over to the analysis desk to close back out. Guys, take it away. Let us know your thoughts on that final map.
Thanks, Blue.